Let's face it, people lie more often than you'd think, and it's not always strangers you'd suspect. It might be a friend, a partner, or even family. We like to believe we're sharp at catching lies, but truth is, we often ignore red flags because we crave trust in those close to us. I've been there. I once thought I was a keen judge of character until someone I trusted lied to my face for months. The issue wasn't missing the signs. It was choosing to dismiss them. They were right there: subtle behavior shifts, overblown explanations, sudden defensiveness. But I told myself it was nothing. Here's the reality. People lie constantly, and accepting that sooner helps you see through their facade faster. If you're ready to peel back illusions and confront the truth, here are undeniable signs you're being lied to. Brace yourself. It might hit closer than you expect. Sign 1. Quick to change the subject. Ever had a chat where someone sidestepped your question so swiftly it felt like verbal dodgeball? You raise something important, maybe a topic you care deeply about, and boom, they're off discussing something entirely different. It's as if they've got an escape route ready, vanishing into a safe, unrelated topic the moment things get real. Let me share a story. In a past relationship, this happened constantly, and at first, I barely noticed. Whenever I'd bring up future plans, simple things like where we'd be in a year, or how we'd tackle tough moments, they'd pivot to something trivial, like what to eat for dinner, or some random Instagram post. It was subtle, almost sly, and I let it pass, not wanting to push too hard. I convinced myself they weren't ready for the talk, or maybe I was too intense. But here's the truth. They were never ready, and that signaled something deeper than dodging a topic. It was evading responsibility. Here's the controversial point. People don't switch subjects just because they're distracted or forgetful. They do it because truth is uncomfortable, and many choose avoidance over facing reality. We let them off because we don't want to seem overbearing, preferring peace even if it means letting lies slip through. But that's where we err. Dodging tough talks doesn't avoid conflict. It invites dishonesty. The deeper message, when someone swiftly changes the subject, it's not mere avoidance. It's a refusal to face truth, prioritizing their comfort over your clarity. What does that say about your relationship's foundation, whether with a partner, friend, or colleague? A lie isn't always a bold falsehood. Sometimes it's as subtle as a shifted conversation. We think only spoken lies matter, but unspoken ones erode trust, piece by piece. I learned this the hard way. Each time I let the topic shift, I silently accepted their evasion, letting them keep me in the dark. I wanted to believe all was well, so I allowed the change. But that's the danger of letting people steer away from truth. It's not just about the avoided topic. It's about compromising the relationship's integrity. Here's what I've learned. Don't let people off when they try to switch subjects. It's not about confrontation. It's about demanding honesty. If someone values you, they'll tackle hard talks, no matter how uneasy. If they don't, ask yourself, what kind of relationship are you truly building? Truth, however tough, forges stronger bonds than any well-crafted lie. Sign 2. Listen to understand, not to respond. Listening is a vital yet underrated skill in building charm, forming the bedrock of making others feel truly valued. The issue? Most of us don't truly listen. We're just waiting for our turn to talk. We're so focused on crafting our next clever reply that we miss what someone's actually saying. and that's the quickest way to make them feel unseen. Here's a bold truth. If you're not listening to understand, you're wasting everyone's time. I've been guilty of this myself, nodding in conversations, acting engaged, but inwardly rehearsing my next point. And guess what? People sense it. They know when you're just biding time to speak, and it doesn't make them feel valued. It makes them feel used. That's not charm. It's selfishness. But when you listen to truly grasp, you show respect, forging a connection deeper than shallow chatter. You offer them space to be heard without the pressure of a back-and-forth debate. I recall a time with a struggling colleague, clearly in distress. My instinct was to jump in with advice to solve their issue. But I held back and just listened. No interruptions, no fixes, just full attention. The result? They opened up more, feeling safe. By the end, they said, "I've never felt so understood." That's when I realized, sometimes the greatest gift is simply listening. The deeper message, in a noisy world, genuine listening is a rare treasure. People don't always want advice or opinions. They crave understanding, to feel someone truly gets them. When you offer that, you stand out as someone who cares. That's real charm. So, stop listening just to reply. Listen to comprehend. That's how you make others feel seen and valued, where the true magic of connection unfolds. Sign 3. Defensive without cause. Ever ask someone a harmless question and get a reaction like you've accused them of a felony? Picture this. You say, "Hey, did you take the last pizza slice?" And suddenly they're delivering a heated monologue about how they'd never do such a thing and how dare you even imply it. It's an over-the-top response, as if they're hiding something far worse than a missing slice. That's what I call getting defensive without cause. A glaring red flag shouting, "I'm concealing something." Let me share a story. In a group project, one teammate acted oddly whenever I asked for updates on his work. I'd say, "Hey, how's the report coming?" A simple question. But he'd snap back, "Why do you always assume I'm slacking? I'm working hard. I don't need babysitting." This was the guy often scrolling through his phone during meetings. Soon enough, we discovered he'd barely touched his share, trying to cover it up all along. Here's the bold truth. People who get overly defensive when there's no reason are often the guilty ones. It's the classic hit dog will holler. From experience, I've learned that when someone reacts this way, it's time to step back and see the bigger picture. What are they guarding so fiercely? If someone's truly innocent with nothing to hide, they won't turn a casual question into a personal attack. Honest folks stay calm and direct. Guilty ones are on edge, braced for exposure. The deeper message lies in human nature. When people act defensive without cause, it's their guilt speaking, not their integrity. You must be bold enough to see that their overreaction isn't about your question being out of line. It's about them shielding the truth. They're like a house with locked doors, pretending all's fine, while you hold the key they hope you'll never use. Here's the kicker. Ignoring these defensive outbursts lets lies flourish. We teach people they can dodge deception by making us feel bad for asking. But it's not about being rude. It's about valuing honesty over comfort. People twist themselves into knots to avoid being caught, and defensiveness is just one tactic. So, next time someone gets absurdly defensive over a question that doesn't warrant it, don't back off. Stay curious. Press a bit harder. 9 times out of 10, their reaction is a smokescreen to hide the truth, and you deserve better than living behind that haze. Sign 4. Over-polished details. Ever heard a story so flawlessly crafted, it feels like a rehearsed Oscar performance? Every detail falls perfectly, the timing impeccable, the narrative so seamless, it seems almost too perfect to be true. Well, guess what? It likely is. I've encountered this too often. There was a guy, let's call him Jake, who spun tales with cinematic flair. Once, he shared a story about a business deal he supposedly closed, describing each moment like a scene from a James Bond film. It was so smooth, down to the precise second he signed the contract, sealing it with a firm handshake while gazing over a city skyline. You could almost hear the dramatic soundtrack. The issue: reality is messy. Life doesn't follow a script. When a story sounds like a polished TED Talk, your lie detector should buzz. It turned out Jake exaggerated half the tale and fabricated the rest. Here's the bold truth. Most don't challenge over-polished details because we love a gripping story. We enjoy neat, engaging, cinematic tales, so we let them slide, even when our gut screams something's off. That's how liars thrive. They bank on our craving for tidy narratives. We want stories to be clean, easy to digest, but truth's messiness is inconvenient. Life doesn't come in perfect packages, and a too smooth tale is likely fiction, not fact. The deeper point: when someone over-polishes details, they're not just impressing you. They're controlling the narrative, crafting a version of events to serve them. They're the writer, director, and star of their own film, with you as the audience, expected to applaud without question. I learned this the hard way with Jake. When I probed for more details, his crisp story blurred, turning a flawless tale of success into a patchy, awkward mess. Liars can rehearse, but they falter on follow-ups. Real-life details are chaotic, and a too-perfect story signals a crafted fantasy, not a truth. The core message: life is messy, complex, and beautifully imperfect. When someone hands you a story where every detail aligns, nothing goes awry, and all clicks into place, they're selling an illusion. If you buy it, you're shortchanging yourself. Real trust, connection, and relationships aren't built on fairy tales. They're forged in raw, honest imperfection. So, when someone delivers a tale that's too polished, don't just enjoy the show. Ask questions. Dig deeper. Truth is messy, and if they won't show the flaws, they're not showing the truth. Life doesn't need to be perfect to be honest, and anyone claiming otherwise is likely hiding something they don't want you to see. Sign 5. Body turned away from you. Ever notice someone's body angled away while they're speaking to you? Their words say, "I'm engaged," but their posture screams, "I'd rather be elsewhere." It's a subtle, almost sneaky signal most don't catch, but it speaks volumes. I had a friend who, during deeper talks, would slightly shift his body away. At first, I thought it was just his sitting style or discomfort, but it became clear. Whenever we hit personal or tough topics, his body seemed to flee the conversation. No psychology degree needed to sense something was off. Eventually, I learned he'd been hiding a few things. Nothing huge, but enough to dent trust. His body betrayed him before his words did. Here's the bold truth. Many dismiss body language as trivial or overanalyzed. But they're wrong. Your body doesn't lie like words can. When someone turns away, even slightly, their subconscious is distancing itself from the truth. The worst part: we often ignore these cues, not wanting to face what they might mean, convincing ourselves it's just a habit or no big deal. But let's be real. If someone's physically pulling back, it's a red flag. Maybe it's not always a grand lie, but it signals something's amiss. The deeper point, when people can't face you directly, it's not just about comfort. It's about avoiding confrontation with reality. Their body language outs them before they realize it. I used to brush off these signs, thinking I was reading too much into it. But after seeing it repeatedly, I've learned when someone turns away mid-talk, it's not lawlessness. It's a subconscious attempt to hide. The core message, body language, doesn't exist in a vacuum. If someone's body angles away while speaking, they're uneasy with the topic. They might be shielding themselves, not from you, but from the truth they're dodging. It's as if turning away lets them escape your ability to see through them. I've learned not to ignore these cues. It feels awkward to notice, even more to address. But body language is brutally honest. When someone turns away, they're creating emotional, mental, and physical distance. If you don't confront it, that distance grows. So, next time you're in a conversation and someone subtly angles away, take it as a hint. It's time to ask the tough question they're avoiding. Probe deeper to uncover what they're hiding. Honesty doesn't turn its back, and neither should those you trust. Sign 6. Laughing off serious topics. Ever tried discussing something serious with someone, only for them to chuckle it away like it's trivial? You're opening up about a meaningful issue, perhaps something troubling you, and they respond with an awkward laugh, brushing it off and moving on. It's as if they're wielding humor as a shield to dodge the truth. At first, it might seem harmless, even charming. But trust me, when someone laughs off weighty topics, it's often a sign they're hiding something. Here's a personal story. In a past relationship, I'd try to raise important concerns, real, heartfelt matters. I'd say, "Hey, I've been feeling disconnected lately," and get a laugh followed by, "Oh, you're overthinking, relax." That chuckle wasn't just casual. It was a tactic to dismiss the conversation and evade the issue. Over time, I realized serious talks were always met with humor, sarcasm, or quick jokes. What I learned? That laughter was a way to sidestep accountability and avoid uncomfortable truths. Here's the bold truth. We're conditioned to see humor as positive. It lightens moods, eases tension, makes things comfortable. But when someone constantly uses laughter to bypass serious topics, it's a red flag. They're smuggling lies past you, disguised as jest. The worst part? Most let it slide because no one wants to be the buzzkill pressing a point after a joke. People laugh off heavy stuff to keep things breezy, avoiding deeper digging. But real conversations, the ones that matter, aren't always light or easy. They challenge you, push you toward honesty. If someone can't handle that, what are they hiding behind those chuckles? The deeper message, laughing off serious topics, signals emotional immaturity. It shows they're unwilling, or worse, unable, to engage in honest dialogue. It's like they're slapping a jokey facade over something they can't explain, perhaps fearing vulnerability or knowing the truth would expose them. I've seen this pattern repeatedly. People use humor to deflect, making you feel like you're too serious. But there's nothing wrong with taking things seriously, especially when they matter. If someone laughs it off, don't hesitate to ask, "Why's this funny?" That simple question can reveal their discomfort. The issue with laughing off weighty topics is it blocks real communication before it starts. Like a no-entry sign on the path to trust and accountability. If you let it pass, critical talks about relationships or responsibility never happen, leaving everything shallow and unresolved. The core message: honesty isn't always fun or lighthearted. It shouldn't be laughed away. If someone can't treat serious matters with gravity, they're avoiding true connection and truth. If they can't face tough topics with you, how much trust can you place in them? Next time someone chuckles away a serious talk, don't let it slide. Press for the uncomfortable truth. Laughter may lighten a moment, but it doesn't erase what's really simmering beneath. Sign 7. Vagueness when pressing for specifics. Ever asked someone for details and gotten a poetic swirl of ambiguity instead? You push for specifics, dates, names, facts, and they offer fluff, circling the point like they're dancing in fog. It's maddening, but a massive red flag. If someone can't provide straight answers when pressed, they're likely hiding something. Take my coworker, for example, who always boasted about big deals he was closing. When asked for details, like which companies or how negotiations were going, he'd turn evasive. Oh, early stages, exciting talks happening. Can't say much now, but it's huge. Weeks later, same vague dance. Eventually, we learned there was no deal. He'd fabricated most of it, hoping no one would dig. Here's the bold truth. Vagueness isn't just secrecy, it's lying. It's a liar's ally, letting them dodge accountability. It's like grasping smoke. You think you're close, but they slip away with half answers or, "It's complicated." They bet you'll be too polite or distracted to press harder. Honest people don't hide behind vagueness. They give clear answers because they've nothing to shield. Liars thrive in gray zones. Knowing vagueness makes it hard to pin them down. Most fall for it, trained not to push too hard, fearing rudeness. But let's be real. We've all been vague sometimes, unprepared or unsure. The difference? Honest folks admit it. "I'm not sure," or "I'll check." Liars use vagueness to fake control, avoiding exposure. The deeper point: when someone won't clarify, they undermine trust in any relationship, personal or professional. They rely on your kindness to let it slide. But that's when you must push. That awkwardness you feel? It's your cue to demand clarity. People uncomfortable with specifics are often uncomfortable with truth. I've stopped excusing vague answers. Watch how they react when you ask for details. Do they squirm? Offer broad statements with no substance? That's your signal to dig deeper. If they still can't clarify, they're not being honest. The core message: honesty is direct, clear, not cloaked in ambiguity. Vagueness signals fear of what details might reveal, like a wall to block the truth. If they won't dismantle it, ask why they're building it. Lies aren't always bold deceit. Sometimes they're subtle. Vague replies, polished tales, awkward chuckles. Pay attention to these signs, and you'll spot the truth. People hide in plain sight. Don't shy from hard questions or settle for half-truths. You deserve honesty. And those who can't offer it don't belong in your life. Stay sharp. Stay true.